Hey YouTube, this is Jaden Storm coming from Team Shadow Strike, and this is going to be an updated deck profile on, I guess you could say, probably my favorite deck to play, and that is the Cross at the moment. I've made a lot of changes to the deck since the last time I posted a deck profile on this, and that was, I think, the build that I played at Team League last year and got third place with my teammates. There's just a lot of things that I've changed. Well, not a whole lot, but things I've tried and things I wanted to share with you guys, because some people have been asking me if this deck is still viable, and the answer is absolutely, because the Cross is still extremely fast. It can still cause a lot of problems for a lot of decks out there, so it's still viable. It's not. It's. I to be honest, people still are asking me right now, what are like the top 5 decks to play, and it's really hard to narrow it down. I mean, I can tell you a lot of decks that I think are definitely deserving of being in the top tier status. This is one of them. I'm gonna do another video talking about the decks that I would consider that are, I don't want to say top 5, because in this game, what's really nice about Vanguard is the meta's wide open, but there are clear decisions that deserve to be up there, and I will cover those decks in a later video. So, also another thing I want to mention real quick: if you haven't gone to check it out and you want to win one of the mats that we're giving away, you can go over and check that contest video out. It'll be up the same time as this one if you haven't checked that out, so please do so. Another thing is, one thing that I have not done for you guys, and I don't even want to begin to think how long it's been, and I'm actually kind of pissed at myself for it, and that is a trade binder. I have not cleaned and fixed my trade binder in I don't know how long. There is a lot of stuff that needs to go in there. There are a couple of deck cores that need to go in there that I'm not using anymore. There's one. There's just a lot of stuff that I'm just never going to use. That needs to go in there. So I am going to put myself, because I have been telling myself I need to reorganize my trade binder for, like, I don't know how long. So I am going. I promise. I already have plans for Monday, which I'll be going to my locals and hanging out, and also that's also when I plan to upload these. So hopefully that works out, and then Tuesday I have class. So I will either be uploading these either Monday or Tuesday, so that's when you guys will be seeing these. And then Wednesday I have off. I am planning Wednesday because I don't work. I do work tomorrow. I do work Tuesday before class, but Wednesday I don't have class and I don't work. So I am planning on going and to go through all my stuff and get my trade binder fixed so I can post it for you guys, because there is literally a lot of stuff that I just haven't played. There's also quite a few decks that I'm thinking about possibly just scrapping, because to be honest, there's very few decks that I use anymore, because I mean, I still use all my Kagro decks. I use I'm starting to realize all I'm using are dragon clans, or things that have a dragon. So, so there are just a couple of decks that I'm just thinking about maybe putting in the trade book and doing something else with. I mean, there are exceptions. I still like playing my Genesis Fenrir deck. I still like playing Ripples. That'll be talked about in another upcoming video regarding that deck specifically. And I mean, there are exceptions, but there are just some decks that I just don't see myself using. So that will be set aside. So anyway, enough rambling. So I'm going to get straight into this deck profile. One thing that I might do in a later giveaway is, one thing that I discovered is these deck boxes that started selling at our locals. And I don't know how good the camera will be, so let me see if I can't fix my lighting here a little bit. As you can, right there, you should be able to see. If you see, it kind of has like a dragon scale look to it, and obvious reason for why I would like it, since I like dragons. But it is a double deck box. it can hold it. There's a split right here. It can hold a deck here, and then you can put your G Zone cards there, and then there's another spot there, and that can fit a whole Vanguard deck that's a double sleeve with G Zone cards, or you can put all your G Zone cards there, and then 2 decks there, or whatever. But it's a really nice deck box. I paid $30 for this one. I'm thinking about next time when my locals gets more of these in, I'll just buy one of a random like a basic color, maybe white or black, one that most people would like, and then giving it away. So it's a really nice deck box. So if you guys would like for me to do a giveaway for one of these double dragon scale deck boxes, let me know. I'd really because I do know that you can't find them just everywhere. So if this is something that you guys would be interested in for a giveaway, maybe I can think of something fun to do for that. So anyway, enough rambling. Let's get into this deck profile. So, wait, that's G-Zone. So we'll do that later. Starting Vanguard is we play our Red Pulse Draco Kid. Now, there is a lot of speculation of people saying, is there another starter that you can use besides Red Pulse? Because if you're playing, if you're playing the 9 grade 3 version like I am, chances are that you see your grade 3s. That's true, but this deck, you need your grade 3s for your effects. You still need them for your cross effects. You still need them for your ends. And you can search out a grade 3 to pitch later for Stride. The only other grade starter that I would consider playing is Dragonic Sajay, I think it's called. He's the one where ride a grade 1s, let him out, and then if you retire a card by effect, you shove him in the soul, and your opponent must retire another card. I can see playing him in this deck, but I like Red Pulse for the consistency factor because I'm all about consistency. And this is also the Red Pulse that I had signed by the president of Bushiroad at Team League last year, so it's really special to me. The trigger lineup, it is a little bit different. I was playing... well, I'll just explain that here in a second. I'm playing 4 copies of Embodiment of Spear Tar. I have no idea where my playset of rares went, and that I'm going to. I have actually not pre-ordered, because they've been out obviously forever. But I actually ordered myself a playset of rares, and these are just in there until they come in. And then 4 copies of Demonic Dragon Mage Apalala, just because these are my 2 favorite Kagero critical triggers. In the first build that I posted, the last build I believe I posted was I was playing 7 crit and 4 draw, but instead I'm actually gone to 4 draw, and it's 2 Gatling Claw and 2 Artipeak. The 2/2 idea was a idea that I tried because I was trying just weird things. I actually tried taking Gatling Claw completely out and just playing 4 Artipeak. And I found that I missed Gatling Claw, but even at 2, I still see Gatling Claw fairly frequently. So, and plus, most people play Gatling Claw to get rid of starters, and most starters, especially at my locals, are all G-Break 1 starters. If I was going to a competition, I would be playing 4 Gatling Claw, but in all honesty, this works fine. And then, obviously, for the last 4, if you know me, I play the 1 Dragon Dancer Barba, the 1 Dragon Dancer Teresa, the 1 Perdition Dancer Agathea, and the 1 Mother Orb Dragon. So I play 1 of each of my 4 favorite heal triggers, so... But as for the draw triggers, it's kind of player preference. There's really not a right or wrong answer in that case. Grade 1s. Now, this is probably the grade lineup that has been altered with the most. And first off, you're playing your 4 Protect Orbs. There are still people that refuse to play these, and I guess that you have every right to, but please quit saying that playing this in this deck is stupid, because you have your right to your own opinion, but playing this card is not stupid. It's actually pretty smart, because you counterblast in Kagero quite frequently. All your grade 3s do it. Some of your G units do it. Your starter does it, so you counterblast frequently. So having an unflipping engine is not necessarily a bad thing. And in the mirror match, I'm really not scared of you picking off a rear guard and drawing 2 more cards, because I will eat through it pretty quickly with my G units and things like that. Plus, there's no guarantee that you're going to draw cards that'll even help you. So it's really not that much of a problem. 3 copies of Calamity Tower Wyvern. This is the one thing that probably won't change, because at 2, I didn't see Calamity Tower enough. At 4, you see him so much that you have to end up riding him, and I don't like that. And also, even at 4, if you don't end up riding him, he still floats around so much that he can't do much by himself, and he's kind of just in your hand until you build up a 2-card soul. So at 3, I like him because I see him consistently, and he's there when I need him. I don't see the point of playing 4, and I can understand if you want to only play 2, but I like 3. 2 copies of Dragon Monk Gojo. This is the card that's fluctuated in quantity in this deck, and it can continue to fluctuate, and that's because he's such a good card in Kagero decks in general, especially in this one, since it is a Legion deck, obviously. Because if you draw him in your opening hand, he's always going to be the card you ride normally, because you can hand correction with his ability. And he's just a solid 7k booster if you don't, and you can use him to dump excess overlords to kick off your burnouts. I mean, he's just a versatile card. And then this is the one card that really surprised me, and that is 2 copies of Lizard Soldier Rayopia. Now, shout out to my good friend Tyler, who showed me this card. Well, not showed me this card because I knew it existed, but it makes sense in this deck, and he explained it to me. He said, you really should test this card out, and I was like, I'm alright, I don't need it. And then I saw him use it in a mirror match against me, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll give this a try. In case you don't know, his ability is whenever he boosts a Kagero Vanguard, if the number of rear guards on your opponent's side is 2 or less, he's a 10k boost. He gets 4,000 power. The way this deck works is you're always retiring on your opponent's side of the field. And when you're in Legion with the cross, that's 22. So if you have your opponent's rear guards down to 2 or less, your Vanguard swings for 32,000 power for no cost at all. So I gotta say, he convinced me. This card is really good. I wouldn't play him more at 2 because I want to have more options, but at 2, I still see him enough to where I try to leave the booster behind my Vanguard open, so when I do see it, bam, I can just stick it straight behind him. So Red Pulse now, he doesn't go directly behind the Vanguard. He normally goes off to the side, and he only goes behind the Vanguard if I need him to, if I'm going second, to be able to hit the opposing opponent's Vanguard. And even still, it's not like Red Pulse normally stays on the board that long anyway. But this is a really, really good card, so shout out to Tyler for turning me onto this card, especially in this deck, because it's just a good solid card. If you play the cross, I encourage you to try this. It came out in set 4 as a rare, and then it came out in the vague extra booster reprinted as a rare as well. So he's fairly cheap to find, And then for the last grade 1s, I'm playing 2 copies of Lava Flow Dragon, which is just basically your Kagero Stride Enabler. Now, these last 2 cards, they can be a multitude of things. You can have them be Energy Flame Soldier Athonic. You can make it another Rayopia, another Gojo, because what this was last time was I was playing 3 Gojo and then playing 1 Energy Flame Athonic, but I decided to test play out the lava flows, and I do like them. The problem with this is there are so many options that are good that you just kind of have to pick which ones you want to go with. And this works out well because this deck does focus on striding now, at least a little bit more with the Fighters Collection support that we got from the previous Fighters Collection, not the newest one that just came out. But also, it's a solid 7k boost. I can see playing Energy Flame Athonic because it's a resource recycler to give you more counterblast, but this is there to already give you that. There are certain cards in this deck that if they counterblast, it's worth it. And you want to have access to Stride if you need it, so it makes sense to me to play this. Now, if Vanguard ever gets a side deck, and there is rumors I've been hearing, I don't know if they're necessarily true or not, that they're considering maybe a small sideboard for Vanguard. I don't know if that is true or not, but it would make sense, I guess, to some people. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, so I'm really not going to put all my eggs in that basket yet. But in theory, if we ever did get that, I would have 2 Energy Flame Athonics in the side, and maybe a 3rd Gojo. But in all honesty, this Grade 1 lineup does work for me. It works well, so it does everything I'd want it to do, and it gives me unflip, recyclability, power, recyclability, and access to Stride. So there's no problem with the Grade 1s. So the Grade 2s, I have tried a lot of different things with this, actually. Still playing the 4 Burning Horn Dragon, which is your standard Overlord 12k attacker. Your 4 copies of Dragonic Burnout. This is a no-brainer, so we can recycle our Overlords, and then our 3 Neo Flame. Now, I have tried all kinds of things. I have tried dropping 1 Neo Flame and 1 Burning Horn and playing 2 10k Vanillas. That worked out well. But if you didn't ride him as your Grade 2, he was just kind of a nothing. So it's nice, but I would much rather have the Neo Flame and the Burning Horn. I tried actually taking the Great and Neo Flame completely out of the deck and playing Twilight Arrow. The Generation Break Grade 2 Kagero unit. Whenever this unit attacks a Vanguard and is boosted, you may Counterblast 1 and retire a Grade 2 or less on the field. That works fine, but the only problem is he's a little slow, especially since this deck, you necessarily may not stride, until later. Because now if you were playing a Blade Master deck, which in my Blade Master deck, I do play Twilight Arrow, because in Blade Master, it revolves completely around Stride and using Stride to continually alter your opponent's board. But in this build, since we have access to arguably one of the best Grade 3s in existence, there are times where we'll just use Legion and we'll gain advantage that way. So you don't necessarily need that. You can play it if you want, because there are some people out there that do play Twilight Arrow, and there's nothing wrong with that. I want to point that out real quick. But to me, it's just a little slow. And these 3 right here, these are arguably, this is the all-star team of Grade 2s for the clan in general. And plus, Neo Flame is an MVP, really. He really, really is. Because so many people still don't know how he works. And I don't understand why. Because they think it has to be retired by effect. And even after the turn that it's used, some people still treat him as a threat on the board. So I'm going to clarify real quick. Neo Flame's effect is this. When he is placed on the rear guard, for that turn, he gains this ability. Whenever a unit in front of him is destroyed, Counterblast 1, and you can destroy another card in that column. So when he is placed in this column, anything in front of him, if it is destroyed, you may counterblast one and retire another card. That means if it's destroyed by effect or battle. So many people forget that, and I have been able to pick off columns like that because they don't know that, and so keep that in mind. That's why I like Neoflame. And you can do chains with Burnout, like call your Neoflame, then call your Burnout, kick your Burnout's effect off, retire a unit that's in the Neoflame column, and then retire the other one for a counterblast of 1. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with this grade 2 lineup. I mean, it is pretty staple because this is pretty much the grade 2 lineup in most tournament cross decks. But that's the reason for that is while it may not be very imaginative, it's your best. It's the best one there is. Not that I haven't tried everything, guys. I've tried putting in 10k vanillas. I've tried Twilight Arrow. I know my friend Tyler, who is a Kagero player like me, who turned me onto this card. He plays the grade 2 card for Kagero that whenever you ride a grade 3, he gets plus 10,000 power, and he's trying to get me to try out that card, but I refuse to play that card. I just don't like having 8k grade 2s. I just every deck that I've ever played an 8k grade 2 in, I just don't like it. There's only a couple of them out there that I would even consider playing, and I don't really want to play that because he would be so easy to kill, and after that turn, he just doesn't really create any numbers. You could also try, I can't remember his name. He's a Perdition card. He came out in set 17. Whenever you Legion, he's kind of like Neoflame. Whenever you Legion, you can retire something in the same column as him. You could try that out, but again, I just don't really... this works fine for me. I mean, honestly, if I were to play another grade 2, that would probably be it. The grade 2 that when you Legion, you can retire a card in the same column as him, and I would drop probably 1 Burning Horn and 1 Neoflame to play 2 of him, but this grade 2 lineup is fine. And then for the grade 3 lineup, we're still playing the 4 copies of the Cross, the 3 copies of Neoflame, the 3 copies of Dragonic Overlord the End, and the 2 copies of Dragonic Overlord the Great. And of course, all 9 of my Overlords are signed, because I'm awesome like that. I'm not going to explain what any of these cards do, because I assume by now, you should know what they do. Blow shit up, restands. So, there's been a lot of things that, that I've thought about trying. Ever since I put in Lava Flows, one thing I've thought about trying, actually, is dropping 1 Great and putting in 1 copy of Blade Master. And the reason for that is because with that Blade Master, if you say you open up with Lava Flow in your hand and you have a Dragonic Overlord, the End in your hand, you don't really want to ride the End as your first grade 3. So you could call Lava Flow Dragon, ditch the End, and search out Blade Master, and then you could use a Burnout to put that End back in the deck and set up a Burnout on turn 2. So that's an idea. I've thought about that. I might try that out, actually, but I haven't tested that out yet. I might also try, my friend Tyler, he plays, instead of playing the Great, or Neoflame, he plays other options, like he plays the grade 2 that gains 10k when you ride a grade 3, but instead of playing the Great, he plays 2 copies of the Break Ride Dragonic Overlord, and that makes sense too, but if I was going to do that, I would want to play the Limit Eraser, and because the Break Ride is good, because you can Break Ride, Legion, attack the rear guard, restand, then attack the vanguard, and then restand with the End. So I do see the validity there, but I like this for what it is. But I might try by taking out 1 copy of the Great and putting in 1 copy of Dragonic Blademaster. I might try that in the future, but in all honesty, the 9 Overlord lineup, it works fine. It works better than fine. It's perfect. So, I mean, I might eventually try the Blademaster, but as of right now, this is perfect. Well, not perfect, but it's excellent. We'll go with that, because nothing's perfect. So if you guys were wondering what this is was on the top of my G deck, this is a Power Ranger trading card that they had a couple of them at my locals in the case there because they got the trading card game and some people had opened packs and sold some cards to the store. And this is one of my, they had this one. This is one of my favorite Power Rangers. It's the Shadow Ranger from Power Rangers SPD. And if you've ever seen my phone case, you know I like Power Rangers SPD. So this card, it literally, whenever I'm playing, it just sits on top of my extra deck just to give it some flair. That's the only thing it does. So, now for the G-Zone. We play 1 copy of Divine Dragon Knight Mahmoud. This is just your standard one of your first stride options. Whenever his attack hits the Vanguard, retire 1 unit. So, and I'm playing also 1 copy of Divine Dragon Knight Zom. This card I really like because you can retire multiple units. What I really like doing is striding. First off, his skill is, if you don't know, whenever your opponent's rearguard is retired due to an effect from one of your other cards, you may counterblast 1, and if you do, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. So he can create a chain. So what I like doing is when I stride into him, if I have a Burnout ready, call Burnout, Soul Blast 1, return an Overlord to the bottom of the deck, and then destroy a rearguard, which will kick his effect off of Counterblast 1 and retire another card. And then say if you have another Burnout, you want to do it again, you can essentially do it again if you can pay the cost for the Burnout and do that again, and you have another Counterblast, and your opponent has that many rearguards. But I like Zom for that, because he can, if your opponent has, especially against Sanctuary Guard, this card is really good because you can just start killing their boosters. So I like Zom. Zom's good. And finally, actually, 1 second. And finally, where the heck are they? I'm playing 2 copies of Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon Dragonic Overlord, the Ace. And I finally got the Aces. And not only that, I have a playset of the Ace. But I do not play 4 copies of the Ace for a lot of reasons. But first off, the Ace, if you don't know, when you stride into him, you Counterblast 2 and you G-Persona Blast, so you have to flip up a copy of the Ace. And he gets -1 drive check, but until the end of turn he gets the ability of I'm trying to find where it starts so I can read it word for word for you. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked a Vanguard, you may pay the cost of Counterblast 2 and G-Persona Blast. If you do, at the end of you may stand this unit and give it plus 5,000 power till end of turn. If you discard 1 card from your hand and then another card from your hand that has Overlord in it. So you have to discard 2 cards from your hand, but one of them must be an Overlord unit. And that can be any of your Overlords. It can be any of them. It can be the Cross, it can be the End, it can be the Great, it can be a Break Ride. If you wanted to be Rogue and play Rebirth in here, you could do that. So the Ace, he can go in pretty much any Overlord deck as long as... one thing I want to point out, one common misconception is... It says nowhere on here... Yeah, it says nowhere on here you have to have an Overlord Heart, but you must discard an Overlord to get that restanding ability. Because I would still play 2 copies of this in my Blademaster deck because I play the Great in it. But the reason I don't play 4 Ace is because his cost is Counterblast 2 and discard 2 cards. That is a high cost to pay. Now, I'm not saying the ace is a bad card. The ace is a great card, because when you catch your opponent with 5, 6 cards in their hand, and you know they have a perfect guard in their hand and they're going to stop your Legion attack, this is something that can really make them sweat, because if they're at 4 damage, they then have to decide if they want to nullify the first or the second, and that can start leading them to second guess their move and can give you an opening. So I don't like playing 4 ace, but I do like playing 2. Now, with that being said, I will still pick up as many aces as I can get my hands on, but I'm glad I do finally have at least a play set of him. And then for the last card, this is probably an easy one, is I play 4 copies of Flame Emperor Dragon King Root Flare Dragon. This card is just too good, in my opinion. I like playing a card that can retire 2 units for a Jeepers Soda Blast, so it just continues the control factor of the deck, which is what I love maxing out on. So, you know, Root Flare, when he's your Vanguard, you may flip up a copy of him if you have 2 or more cards face up in your G-Zone, select 1 rear guard, and then destroy every rear guard that is in the same column as that one that you selected. Now, this guy can kill resist units, but you cannot target the resisted unit. If you target, say, if you're playing against Messiah and they have a card and Dark Metal Chameleon, you can target the card that's not Dark Metal Chameleon, and then it destroys every card in that column because it's not targeting him specifically. It's the same way if you were to use the Gear Chronicle Horse that rewinds the entire field, and then they have to call cards out from the top of the deck equal to the amount that you rewounded, because it's not targeting him specifically. It's targeting the field, which he's on the field, so it counts. So anyway, that is the G-Zone. So anyway, guys, that is my Overlord the Cross deck, and that's been finally updated after, you know, I don't remember how long it's been since I did a deck profile on this, but I wanted to show you guys how I've changed the deck up and did some different things with it. But I really enjoy the deck still. It's still my favorite deck to play. I still play it in tournaments fairly frequently and do very well with it. You know, so anyway, guys, in the comment section below, feel free to tell me what your thoughts were on anything mentioned in this video. Give me questions or anything like that. I always love answering your guys' questions. If you guys want to see me do a giveaway for one of the Dragon Scale deck boxes, please tell me in the comment section below that you would be interested in doing that. And I will, when I have, after this, the rest of the stuff that I'm doing right now gets taken care of, I will buy one of these and I will give it away. You can still expect to see lots of deck profiles coming up soon from the Fighters Collection stuff. I pre-ordered a lot of stuff that still has not gotten in the mail today. It better be in by tomorrow. I'm going to be calling Ideal 808 and saying, hey, where's my shit? You will see a Seal Dragon deck profile from me finally. You will see a Kaiser Vermilion deck profile updated. You will see Dimensional Robo from Christian. You will see a Great Nature, Aqua Force, and Mega Colony deck profiles from Sam. So there's a lot of things that you got that will be coming up, so they will be up here for you guys to see. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and also, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.